talk for today is called Love Your Dreams. But first, a joke. Two women, both very interested in losing weight, are talking to each other on the phone. And one says to the other, I burned 2,000 calories today in 20 minutes. And the other goes, oh my God, that's fantastic. How did you do that? I forgot the brownies in the oven. All right. Love your dreams. Many of us have had dreams that in the pursuit of have, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, sometimes they feel painful, sometimes you work so darn hard to achieve those dreams that once you get there, you're exhausted and you don't have the kind of joy with it you might have. Maybe you're somebody who thinks you're too old to go after dreams. Maybe you're somebody who thinks you're too young. Maybe you think you don't have the right skill. This is what I have learned about dreams. Treat them like you would a child. That if you treat your dreams the same as you would any child, those dreams will thrive. That many times going after our dreams, we become like helicopter parents. And anybody who's done any reading on helicopter parents knows that if you're just constantly getting involved and engaged and trying to figure out what your kids should do, they do not thrive in that environment. In fact, they rebel. In fact, they move away. They don't want anything to do with you. You know what? Your dreams are the same. Now, maybe you think your dream, you need to get in there that much. Now, on the other hand, you don't want to be the other side of the coin, which is neglect your dreams. Because neglected children don't thrive either. There's a balance to it all, and it comes from nurturing and love. But many of us treat our dreams as if it's just something we've got to do, instead of something to love and nourish. If you have had a dream, any dream, if you have one now, you have been given that dream as a gift. It is not yours to concern yourself with how it turns out. It is yours to concern yourself with loving and nurturing so that that dream can thrive. I think the thing that most of us miss the most is that dreams have their own life. It's easy to see that when we look at our children. Much tougher when we look at our dreams. But it is my personal experience that any dream that comes to any sort of thriving and fruition at all has a life to it of its own and grows as long as it's nurtured and loved. I have been blessed with that I got to build my dream house up on top of a mountain, a 3,000 square foot house with an extraordinary view. And I remember and I've talked a lot about that dream house, but here's a piece that I haven't spoken about before because it wasn't relevant and didn't come up until I thought of this talk. And that has to do with my desire for 10-foot ceilings in the living room. I wanted 10-foot ceilings. And the contractor came to me and said, I can get an extraordinary price on 9-foot studs. And I don't think you're really going to notice the difference between 9 or 10 feet. Now, if I wanted to what I did at that point was take a look at what really mattered to me around this. And what really mattered to me was a sense of expanse. What really mattered to me is the picture windows had enough space because I picked out these gigantic windows to give me the full view in the living room that I wanted to have. And so he went and got the 9-foot stud, a 9-foot stud to show me how tall it was. And he was right. I would have thought that was 10 feet. It gave so much expanse. And then he got one of the windows and showed me how the window would fit in there. Now, if I'd been stubborn and said the dream has to be this way, I would have missed out on something extraordinary that happened because of this that I didn't even know was going to happen. So I said, yes, we saved over almost thousands of dollars just on the studs alone, because I'd gone with 9 feet instead of 10 feet because the contractor got this extraordinary difference in price. He actually got them cheaper than 8-foot studs. I was in a architectural, I don't even know what you call it, but a building where they had all these different parts of all these old buildings. And in there was a door connected to a window that was 11 feet across and 8.5 feet high that came out of a police station from the 1800s. The thing looked extraordinary. I'd never seen anything like it. And I had in mind to have this huge deck built out on the bedroom. So I needed a door to go out to the deck. And this was all glass. The whole thing was glass. And it was expensive. In fact, it turned out to be the exact amount of money I had saved on the studs. That would have never happened if I'd been, rigid around what my dream should look like. And I would have missed out on this extraordinary window that my contractor said, no problem. We'll put that in your bedroom instead of the wall. And that's what you'll have going out to your deck, and the view will be there every day because it's all glass. The door, the windows, everything. It was amazing. Never would have happened because we spent every dime we had. All the money was spent on building this house. There was nothing left over. But because I had saved money on the studs, I was able to get this and put it in. Our dreams work the same way. When we are flexible, when we nurture and love, and I loved that house. I so adored that house. It came out in an extraordinary fashion and on so many different levels because all I wanted to do was nurture it. All I wanted to do was live in it. And it really, this house came alive in the most amazing fashion. And I got to live there for a decade before it was time to move on. That's what's possible when we love our dreams instead of try to control them. And we see it with kids all the time. But it may be harder to see it with your dreams when you think to have your dreams means you got to plan and then you got to act on those plans and take step by step by step. I want you to know that's never been true for me. That the best of my dreams have come about not by me pursuing them in a fashion of a step-by-step and rational way, but by loving and nurturing. And sometimes, like the house, they turn out in ways that you least of all expect. I grew up in a very Jewish family and neighborhood where everybody, if If you had a kid who wasn't turning out to be a doctor or a lawyer, he better be president of the United States. And so there was a way in which I was a rather large disappointment for my family in terms of I wanted to play rock and roll. I never felt very nurtured. I never felt very loved. I had to build that in myself and then make sure that I carried it forward in my life towards the things that mattered to me, like my son. The last thing I wanted for my son was to get involved in rock and roll. And that's exactly what he wound up getting involved with, and he's actually excellent at it. We don't get say so much about not just our kids, but our dreams. But we do get to see them nurtured and loved, and then get the joy from that. At one time in my life, I wanted to be a painter. And I can't draw a straight line. I have taken classes. I have tried different things. But what I have developed is such an appreciation of art that I get tremendous joy out of that. I get a tremendous joy. I mean, behind me is the mural. I get tremendous joy out of Sandra Dee's mural every single time I look at it. I have studied the histories of Renoir and Van Gogh and Monet because of my appreciation for art. Picasso, Matisse, I have studied their art and studied these people. And so I wound up getting, because of my dream around painting, such a joy out of my appreciation of art without ever having become a painter. There are ways in which, there are ways in which we get to develop our lives through our dreams that allows us to have way more than we ever anticipated when we don't get in the way. There's a man who wanted to become a golfer, professional golfer. Worked really hard at it. Turns out he didn't really have much talent at it, but, kept at it a long time. He wanted it so bad, he actually wrote a program that could watch his motion. And then, using the program that took in his motion, could then show him how to improve upon his stroke. The program he wrote was so darn good, he started getting calls from some of the best golfers in the world saying, "Hey, I'd like to check out this program of yours." And so he became the #1 go-to guy for every major golfer of our time. Did he ever get to be that golfer himself? No. But his dream led him to being a part of an industry that he loved and got to hang out with all his favorite players who reached out to him, wanted what he had. And when he was interviewed around this, he said, "This is way better than it would have ever been to actually get out there and compete with these people. Now I get to be their friends and get to support them. This is a great life." His dream led him to a great life that he never expected. Our kids, when they are nurtured and loved, grow up to be what we have never could have ever expected. And our dreams are the same. You have not been given a dream that is not yours to have. It doesn't matter what the dream is. There's a way in which, when you nurture that dream, it will nurture you. The same way my son does. I am nurtured by his phone calls and how we connect. I am sure you have loved ones in your life who you are nurtured by simply by being in relationship to them. This is the possibility we have with our dreams. I have spent a lot of time thinking about this because I have spent a lot of time in pain around some of my dreams. And I finally realized that that was because I needed them to look a particular way. My dream around being a rock and roll star has caused me a tremendous amount of pain only because of my attachment to how I thought it should look. And in so doing, missed all the love and nurturing that I still gain from that dream every time I put on a song that just has me rise to a whole nother level of beingness, where I'm actually lifted out of my body sometimes because I love rock and roll so much. I get to love rock and roll and appreciate it. Last week, I was telling you about that Who concert I went to. And it was an amazing fulfillment of a dream. Our dreams are not ours to formulate in what they should look like. We are given these dreams so that we can nurture them. And in so doing, nurture ourselves. Every dream of yours is a chance for you to gain more love and nurturing for yourself. Whether you achieve that dream in the way you thought you would or not, it absolutely doesn't matter whether you're 120 or 5. Your dreams are there for a reason, and it is to bring love and nurturing to your life. And if you're feeling it any other way, it's because you got your fingers in the gears. It's because you have thinking it has to be this way. We have in our lives the ability to experience spirit, love, light in every single circumstance, in every single moment. There's never a moment that God is not. And in that sense of God, in that sense of nurturing, in that sense of blessing, we can feel our connection to the all, to each other, to love. I have made a commitment to myself to embrace my dreams without having any attachment to what it is they look like, to how it is it turns out, but to move forward in these dreams from a place of nurturing and love. I've begun to re-establish my way of walking through the day, to embrace my dreams from a place of joy. And when I'm not feeling that, realizing that that's because somehow I'm putting my fingers in the gears. This is what I offer you today. The opportunity to get your fingers out of the gears. Get your head out of thinking, I'll only be happy if the dream shows up in this way. That dream is there to guide you, to nurture you, but only if you nurture it. Love. We talk about it all the time, how love is all there is. And yet then we walk through our day and forget it so quickly. There's no place love rests deeper within ourselves than with our own dreams. Those dreams are like seeds just waiting to blossom. Just let go of what you think they will look like. And take whatever steps might be that look, feel, and act nurturing, loving. And the garden of your life will flourish. I promise you. Love. That is an act of deep loving of yourself. When you love your dreams. When you nurture your dreams. Without thinking you've got to act in any particular way to get your dreams. To bring them forth. That isn't the purpose. They may come forth. My house did. And I loved it. But it came forth in ways that I never expected because I kept my fingers out of the gears and I had joy every step of the way. You know you're on the right track when the way you are nurturing and being with your dreams is bringing you joy every step of the way. Not just some of them. Every step of the way. That's what's possible here. And that's what I bring for you today. I love you. Thank you. God is the source of all supply. Money is God in action. What I give, I receive multiplied abundantly. All that God is, I am, and so it is.